Into the Drive Show on TAB Radio. The Drive Show with juice left in the tank.
Well, we could say the big names keep coming here on this Drive Show and straight up today, Rusty, but this is the biggest name.
Good.
This is
great.
The number one, Adam Durrant. Very good afternoon.
Settle down, boys. I'm a has-been. I've put the cue in the rack.
Hang on
a second.
I just play reserves now.
Yeah, I bet you've got a big summer coming, I think, and you're going to produce a few this weekend. In all seriousness, it's a bit of an important day for the stable, I guess, for you.
Yeah, look, they're all nice horses that have already they've proven themselves as metro horses. So you like to keep them there, but as you know, the promise potential is only on paper, and they've got to come back and keep reproducing it, don't they? So it'll be interesting in their training and that side of things. They've really pleased us, and they've come back more mature and probably more sort of rounded horses. So hopefully we can extract a bit longer prep out of a couple of them, because they've shown glimpses of real potential.
Mate, you've always been one to give them plenty of time. You've never rushed your horses. But when you go through some of their records, they really do build a good record on the back of that, because you get to see the best of them and you don't usually get to see the worst of them. You're patient with them. I'm a bit surprised how many of your horses of late have been starting without a trial. Is there any new move on that?
Oh, not really. Just obviously the wet tracks that we've had. We've had a lot of rain, and I just preferred these group come in with that in mind, and it's not an afterthought. They were probably ready to go 3 weeks ago, and rather than go to the trials, we just opted to keep them at home and get that legwork into them there. So, I mean, for the short races, most of them are going over 1,000 metres, so they've had the work. I think I feel for the 1,000 metre races. So, had it been 12s or 14s, you've got to question it, because race fitness and a trial always helps them. But I'm pretty confident for the 1,000 metres. We followed a similar path to what I did with KTY and also Black Aura at their previous preps, and everything reads the same. So all their data's good, and they look in great order. So no real reason behind it. Probably if the sun come out, they'd probably trial Monday had they not been racing. So I thought, well, it's a free throw at the stump. They're not probably Kalgoorlie horses. So 2 weeks' time's Kalgoorlie. So they get a nice little week's rest on the quiet in the paddock, and then hopefully at the beach, and then 2 weeks building into their second up run.
And isn't it nice when we can go to town for 80,000 stakes plus bonuses, and when you've got a horse like your 3-year-old filly Schnitzer Latte, had its last 2 starts in group company in the Karrakatta and the Sires, ran 3rd and 4th in them. This crack filly, I reckon that's what she is. She resumes without a trial, but drawn one, gets William Pike, and certainly looks to be the testing material in the first.
Yeah, you'd think so. Look, if the trial, I mean, if it was a trial field, I'd be very disappointed if she didn't probably win it sharpness-wise and when you look at the horses. But you've still got to respect them. They're a few untried and unknown horses in the race. So, you've got to, one, respect them, and you've got to, two, respect the fact that 2-year-olds sometimes don't come back. But we have been, she picked herself to be a 2-year-old. We didn't rush her, and everything she did, she sort of did within a comfort zone. So we hope that we haven't popped her before she gets to show her best, because she does feel as though she could, get to I feel, fillies and mares stakes grade if the stars align.
And your other runner in the race playing it sweet in the Cosgrove colours. I just want to digress one sec. You look at all your runners there on Saturday. They're running for Cosgrove. They're running for Neville Duncan and obviously his owners. And, of course, they're running for the Durrants. And where are you? As you said earlier on, you're playing reserves. Have you just become a little bit more boutique, if you like, in who you're training your horses for?
Yeah, we've cut our numbers down 2/3, so we're down to, the 30, 40 in work mark, and we're planning on sort of dropping it down even more in the next sort of 12 months. I've still got a few stragglers that probably need to move on that we're just trying to get a win out of, and that's the plan. Hopefully we can just concentrate on City Saturday types and have a smaller select stable. You've obviously still got to go to the provincials and countries, and I love going to those places, and unfortunately my numbers wise I'm just not able to support those clubs as much anymore because I just don't have the sheer numbers, but you still got to start them somewhere to begin with, and obviously city horses are hard to find. So, I mean, there's always going to be the B and C graders if you've got any type of stable, but hopefully we can focus on more more city sort of style stable, and the days of trying to win premierships and things like that are long past me. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather just enjoy myself and just as you said, just have a bit more of a boutique stable. And I enjoy training for the crews that I'm training for at the moment. And not that I didn't enjoy training for everyone else, but just the big numbers that you just lose a bit of interest after a while.
It becomes more of a job than something you can be really passionate about. There's just too many, isn't there? How many phone calls can you make in or take in a day? Mate, the second race there tomorrow, on Saturday, Black Aura, it resumes from Mate. There looks to be really good, genuine speed in this race for Black Aura. This horse really did hit the racing with a bang. It really showed a lot of ability from early doors. I put a line straight through that last run before it went for a spell. It was just off the track throughout and had no cover. It is just, no matter which way you look at this horse, this is a nice horse, and this looks to be a very good setup for it, map-wise. How's Black Aura coming along, and how confident are you?
Yeah, she's a tricky one because I don't know what her distance range is yet. She's by Playing God, but she's out of an Oratorio mare, so. I mean, she's run well over 1,400, closing off pretty well late. But I'm still not convinced either way whether she's, just keep it trainer really fresh and 1,000, 1,200 metres. It might be the best way to go with her because her first up run last preparation, although she didn't beat a lot, the way she did it was of a nice horse. And then the previous, the next start, she was able to do it 10 days later over 1,000 metres, dropping back 200 metres. And that tells me generally your horses that want longer probably don't do that. They probably more will be flat, and she was able to win again. And after that, I think we lost her a bit. She was feeling the hard tracks, and I probably should have pulled up after that. But we kept going, and sort of we got 2 poor runs. So I definitely forgive her for her last 2. She's working every bit as good as what she was going into her first and second up run last prep, if not possibly better. She's a bigger, stronger filly. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting when the whips are cracking. She's probably going to get back a little bit. That's going to be the key, and Willie's going to have to navigate a path. And we're just going into a few of these races. Treat them as a trial. If you get the gaps and things pan out, it's a bonus. We're not going to be peeling off at the 600 4 and 5 wide and blowing these horses up on Saturday. Yeah. So you've got to be aware of that and be a little bit cautious that they're probably going to be ridden more the Willie Pike style anyway. So it's probably the way that it's going to pan out nicely for them for their first up run. But yeah, certainly can't knock her. She looks great. They've all come through winter good. All their coats are dropped out, and yeah, they're starting to look really well.
Perfect. Yeah, third event, you got 2 again, Cosgrove's and Duncan's colours here. Him's a Valadare, a horse I've always had a bit of fun with and love a session. What can you tell us about these 2?
Yeah, they're just your typical Westby Platinum horses. Run them 10 times, those Platinum races, and you probably get a different result, 10 times with those style of horses. Both trialled really well in similar trials. I think they'll both play a part. They're going really well. Obviously, Him's a Valadare. He's had a bleeding indiscretion in the past, so fresh is best for him. He's obviously a horse you've got to manage, and Love a Second, as we call her at home. She's won 2 and what she run 10 or something seconds, or even more she might have run, but
11 seconds, mate.
11 seconds, there you go. So, I mean, some of her runs are beauties, and you'll think, you watch some of her runs when she gets beat, you just think, oh, that was, she's unlucky, and then the next start she'll get every possible and be a little bit plain and run second again. So, we're hoping on her work on Tuesday, she's probably my pick out of the two. She went exceptionally well, and she's coming along really nicely. So, but you know those races, as you know, you like betting on 2,200 metre maidens in the middle of winter. You're a brave man and a very clever judge if you can. If you get it right, pick out those wet speed, yeah, you get those. I mean, you get it right if they're pretty easy. If you get $1.50, graduation horse that's going to go through its grades, they take care of those ones pretty easily. But most of the time, they've all been racing each other for 5 or 6 runs. These horses, haven't they? So a lot of respect for the top weight, but he's got his share of weight as well. So he's probably one of those that's good enough for graduations.
Yes,
that slip back into a Westmead Platinum, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Mate, you would not believe the last 20 minutes, I'm just going to let Adam know, we have been sitting here in pitch darkness, working off our phones, to put our phones on our form sheets.
Where's Marty's hands? That's the biggest worry.
No, there was a power blackout. Dead set, there was a power blackout. And finally, after 20 minutes, the lights have just come on. We were just cheering here at this end. So I just wanted to let you know, mate, we sounded like we were a bit lost. We were. Race 4, mate. This is another.
I've been lost for 15 years, so don't worry about being lost.
Nothing's new.
Not a bad way to be sometimes.
That's good.
Absolutely. Mate, race 4 here. Another one of your young tops, only had 5 starts, 4-year-old. Again, just hit the racing scene with gusto, and everyone was thinking, what have we got here? I remember first up, he got beat at Albany by a horse at 100-1, Nicky's Affair. And then straight after that, bang, straight to town, straight to Westcott and straight on top in a 61 plus. And from then onwards, this 4-year-old, he's just gone better and better. 5 starts, 2 wins, 1 second, 2/3. How's he coming back? KTY.
Yeah, he's come back well. Can't fault the horse. His work's been good. He's been a really immature type that we've taken our time with. The full sister or half sister was really talented, but Grant and Alana hadn't had injury issues and sort of went early. So I just was mindful to take our time with him and hopefully, give him his chance to maybe progress as a 4 and 5-year-old. My biggest concern with this guy, we sort of lost him. We've lost him second up every time we've gone to the races. He hasn't maybe been the same horse, but I guess then when you go look at the horses that beat him second up last prep, I mean, he's gone on and ended up a stakes horse. And, I might have been a bit hard on him second up, running him 2 weeks later. I think if you're not trialling, you probably need that 2, 3, 4 weeks in between runs after their first up run to get the best out of them if you want them to reproduce that really sharp first up run. And both times, because he's won so impressively, I've been sucked into going, he's come through the run well, which all intents and purposes to look at him he had. But, I mean, it just takes that little bit out of him, I think, sometimes, and possibly just running him that 2 weeks after that first up run just might have taken the edge off him. So, his numbers when he's right first up, he's going to get to stakes level. There's no risk about that if he stays sound. Just whether, I mean, he needs to sustain a good long preparation. Obviously, 5 or 6 runs if you're going to be that type of horse, which we're hoping this time we could achieve with him. He's a lovely horse and he's one of the fastest that I've had as far as his speed goes. But they've got to be able to sustain it and stay sound, don't they?
Absolutely, and the danger to him is your other runner, stable runner, on paper, Silver Eye. Boy, it was good first up.
Yeah, on face value, he looks that way, and he races actually better second up than first up. So, I mean, he's a pretty good measuring stick for where these guys are at because he had a very, very soft trial before he won first up. And these are probably going into the first up runs with just as much fitness as him. So it sort of, for me, I think KTY's a better horse than him as far as ability-wise, but the other horse is a year older, a bit tougher. Everything's, fallen into place with him now. He's a ready-made racehorse. But I do worry a little bit with the 1,000 for Silver Eye second up. His pedigree says that he'll get out to a mile at some stage. His mental attitude sort of turns us off us. But it might just be a little bit sharp for him to finish off as sharp as what he did last start, and that's my only concern with him. Whereas the other bloke with 54, I just think he just might be too good. I'm still going to sleep on it whether I run Silver Eye, because there's a 72 1200 the week later as well.
Okay, and of course his wet track form is impeccable, Silver Eye.
He does love it. He does love the soft, and that could have flattered the win a bit the other day as well. Part of the track he was in. There's a few arguments you could say, but in saying that too, if you go back his couple of preps ago, he had a poor prep last time in. He had feet issues. Prep before that, he ran some seriously good closing sectionals behind its horse. The horse escapes my name, Mr. Miller's horse that won the Quokka and that. Nothing was getting near it at the time.
Joker's Grin.
Second to that. Joker's Grin. So his form, on his day he can run, and he's quite sharp. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went well, but I just sort of think that maybe he's looking for a 1200 second up. Might have been more his liking. But on top of the ground, I'm not fussed. I think he can still be competitive. He's not just a wet tracker. When you look at the numbers he run that day, he still gets over the top of the ground good.
And mate, a horse, the only other starter on the day is the staying mare Resuming, Queen of Jerusalem. But boy, she's been a good mare for me. I've just seen her have that knack of just working her out through a racing pattern as to when she's ready to go, because I reckon I've had 4 or 5 good bets on her, and she's got the money done every time. She's been a beauty.
Yeah, she's not a hard horse to hide, because she just sort of goes along and doesn't really switch on until you get up over the distances. So hopefully, she's come back in good order. I've been sucked in a little bit because I half think she's a chance on Saturday, but I know my heart thinks she's a chance, but my brain says you're an idiot. She'll get out sprinted, but she's just going so well. She's probably the sharpest she's ever been. Usually I sort of roll into a couple of trials with her, and we thought, oh bugger it, she's working so well and in such good nick, we'll just give her the run first up rather than going to the trials. So she'll run really well, and she's in good nick. But look for her, 2 or 3 runs down the track when she firms in the market like last prep. We'll get one with her.
You must be wrapped and proud about the form of these Johnson Porter boys now, particularly CJP. He's come through probably 3 or 4 months of some of the best riding I've seen him put together in his career. And I've got this theory with him, Adam, that he's very quick to pick up on track patterns and rides accordingly.
Yeah, no, look, he's going great. I'm really proud of both the boys. They've, they're a credit to themselves. Clint's obviously not riding as much for me now with my numbers. He's sort of hooked up with Michael Granson, he's doing a great job as well with his horses. He's bloody hard to beat in anything he's sending around. And obviously having Bob's horses, it generally helps, but you still got to do the right thing with them and get them going. And he's doing a great job. So, Clint makes the right decisions more often than not, which he has, all along. And I mean, Zephin's starting to follow the same path, and no disrespect to either of them, I don't think there's a lot between them at the same age as riders. I think Zephin's, he's showing some really good potential. The difference was back then I had 120 in work and I was winning 5 or 6 races a week, and Clint was probably had a few steamy rounds, whereas I can't support Zephin as much, so he's not getting made probably look as good as what Clint did at the time when he was an apprentice.
Yep.
If that makes sense, and that's not a knock. It's just I just had the firepower there, and and Clint did the right thing with him. He went through his apprenticeship, as a huge asset to us with his riding. But young Zephin, he's starting to click, and both boys are best suited, with no disrespect to them, when they don't think, when they just ride instinctively. They're very good horsemen. They've got really good instinct, similar to Willie. They go out and think too much, and they just, I think, overanalyze things. And you can just see Clint now. He's just dialed into, one of the elite riders that we've got here, and he's got the horsepower underneath him too. So good on him, and hopefully young Zephin's not far away from rolling into a similar style. All
right, can we just press you? I know you've explained what sort of a day it is, but what would be your best, you think, for the day?
Oh, look, to be honest, it's a tricky one. You'd have to say, which is a stupid price, Snitzelade, just the 3-year-old, but I respect my other filly, their work partners, and there's nothing between them. I just feel that that the other playing at Sweet's probably just more 12 to 1600. So there's nothing between them, but they've been keeping each other honest in their work. So probably have to go Snitzalade, but. Look, they can all win apart from Queen of Jerusalem, and it wouldn't be a shock to me. It's obviously a huge ask, but just as a little sneaky, I'm going to go with Love a Second just because of what I've seen on Tuesday. I don't think I've seen her work better.
Wow.
She's just in great nick, and I think Willie, he just might, he might pull a rabbit out of the hat in the West Speed Platinum, but silly to bet in those. But that's it's probably the easiest race as far as your form line.
Plenty of love on the Mundaring text line for the great Adam Durrant. Thanks for that. A good thing about Drive, we can have an elongated chat. It's not all hurry and get it over and done with. Really enjoyed it, and so did our listeners. All the best, Adam.
Not many people like to listen to me dribble and shit, so that's
You're pretty good at it.
We do, mate. We do. That's the main
expert at it. But my self-esteem's just sky high. I appreciate that from Mundaring.
See you later,
on
mate.
you, mate.
Good on you, boys. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend, Adam.
He's a ripper.
He's
Okay.
always very good and very thorough.